A community cloud is designed to serve a special community of clients, whereby those clients have several specific computing requirements that they share, that they have in common. And as a result, the community cloud can service those requirements. So we still have the standard cloud computing characteristics that must exist to have a community cloud, such as resource pooling at the cloud service provider level. Broad access. Now, in this case, let's say compared to a public cloud, which is accessible by anybody that's willing to sign up for an account, a community cloud is a little bit more limited. It's designed for specific access by organizations or government agencies that have similar computing needs. The other thing to bear in mind is that metered usage applies the same way in a community cloud as it would, for example, with a public cloud. The usage of cloud resources in this restricted community cloud is still tracked, and customers still pay based on resource usage. Rapid elasticity is still possible. The quick and simple provisioning and deprovisioning of cloud-based services as required, and self-provisioning still applies using command line and GUI tools. So a community cloud is really just another cloud deployment model, but it serves the specific needs of organizations or governments that have very specific requirements, usually related to security, but not only security. So we've established that a community cloud can apply to a government like the US government, or to organizations doing business in Germany or China, that type of thing. Also, community clouds can apply to specific industries like the pharmaceutical industry. Now, how would that play in? Well, besides having strict security requirements that must be adhered to, in addition, there might be specialized software that is made available within the community cloud. So on the pharmaceutical side of things, that software could be not only for the manufacturing process of pharmaceuticals, but also to track pharmaceutical distribution or compliance with laws and regulations when distribution occurs in different parts of the world, or the expiry of certain types of pharmaceuticals, and so on. Community clouds might also apply to other industries like financial services, whereby specific security regulations must be met, data must be archived for certain periods of time, and specific types of software might be required to be used. It might be offered by the cloud service provider. Of course, custom solutions for pharmaceutical industry, financial industry, and others can also be created and run in the cloud manually. There are many different types of laws and regulations that might have to be adhered to in a community cloud environment, such as the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, or HIPAA, in the United States for the protection of patient medical insurance and sensitive medical information related to those individuals. In the European Union, there's the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, that is designed to safeguard sensitive data of European Union citizens, even if that data is being handled by an organization outside of the EU. Then there are more international-based security standards like the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, or PCI DSS, which is really a number of security controls that are designed to safeguard credit card holder information. So these can be a part of a community cloud, but certainly it's not exclusive to this. We can have this type of support for these laws, regulations, security standards in a public cloud environment, which is definitely the case with Microsoft Azure. Now let's talk about specific solutions in Microsoft Azure that are community clouds, such as the Azure US Government Cloud. Now, this is designed for US government agencies at various levels that have very specific security and compute requirements, and it consists of 8 different Azure regions, such as for US Department of Defense. Then there's a standard US government region, and then US secret region. So these regions then will not be available for standard Azure public cloud customers when they go to deploy resources. When you deploy an Azure resource, you have to specify the region into which you want to deploy it, such as East US, or maybe a region in Europe or India. But the key is that these community clouds do not show up for public cloud customers. They're only available when you deploy resources if you have signed up, for example, for an Azure US Government Cloud type of account. The other thing to consider is that when Microsoft Azure has new features that are available, so preview features before they become generally available, that might show up in the public cloud in Azure long before it ever shows up in for example, Azure US Government Cloud. And the reason for this is because of the strict security requirements that must be adhered to in the Azure US Government Cloud, as an example. So it might take longer for preview features in Azure to be deemed acceptable before they are made generally available in these types of community clouds. Now, there are other variations in Microsoft Azure besides just the Azure US Government Cloud. There's also Azure Germany. Now, this is a sovereign type of cloud and really consists, in this case, of only 2 regions for Azure Germany. However, Germany has an additional 2 regions that are used for public use in Microsoft Azure. So we're talking about a total of 4 regions in Germany at this point in time, but that's changing all of the time. So Azure Germany is a community cloud that would be useful whenever there are German laws that must be adhered to make sure that data and IT workloads running in the cloud stay within German national boundaries. Then there is Azure China. There are 4 Azure regions in China for this use, and its purpose is it adheres specifically to data sovereignty requirements related to the Chinese government. So it ensures that data stays in China and that the workloads that process and support that data also stay in China. So, as is the case with other Azure Community Cloud solutions like the Azure US Government Cloud, the Azure China regions, of which there are 4, do not show up for regular Azure public cloud tenants when they go to deploy resources. It's only available if you signed up for Azure China.